In the midst of overlapping climate crises and mounting social injustice, we are in a time of great change and profound anxiety. With Hurricane Helene having devastating effects from Florida to Georgia, to wiping out entire interstates and towns in Appalachia. This weekend, it is especially poignant to come together not just in worship, but in action. We light our chalice this morning with words by the Reverend Megan Foley, Deputy Director for Congregational Life of our Unitarian Universalist Association. She writes, "When Unitarian Universalists light our chalice, we are doing more than moving a bit of flame from a little stick to our favorite candle. When you use light our chalices, we are showing what happens when we harness the power of fire. Fire is one of the world's most sacred elements, perhaps because it always causes change. Fire warms and feeds. Fire destroys and eliminates. With a bit of attention and care, fire works with us to reveal, to show, literally to illuminate. Fire helps us to see and to survive, and so fire is an especially sacred symbol today because we are in need of change. We are in need of warmth and sustenance, and we need to clear a bright new path for ourselves and for our world."
Please rise and bow to your spirit as we join together in singing hymn 1064, Blue Boat Home.
Good morning, I'm Beth Henkel, and my pronouns are she and her. Would you please now join me in saying our covenant, which is also in your bulletin? Love is the spirit of this church, and service is its law, to dwell together in peace, to seek the truth in love, and to help one another. This is our covenant. And now we're going to say our covenant in Spanish. El amor es el espíritu de esta iglesia y el servicio es su ley. Ir juntos en paz, buscar la verdad en el amor y ayudarnos unos a otros. Este es nuestro pacto. Please be seated. Oops, now we have the announcement, except for me. All right. Our congregation is a lively community with many opportunities to participate. Here are a few announcements for today, but please check your order of service and the e-blast, the weekly newsletter, for more. We still need a volunteer for the nursery today, so if you are a background-checked volunteer and are willing to head to the nursery, we'd be so grateful. And you may have noticed that we are trying some new things with the welcome desk and the large TV screen in the social hall. We are trying to make things as accessible and welcoming as possible. And there are many factors to consider, all of which may not be obvious. Thanks for your patience and understanding during this process.
Steve Dunlop asks that if you know you will be attending the lay-led service for Charlene Dunlop on October 13th, to please let him know so that he can get a baseline for the caterer. There are details on the UUI.org website. And now an announcement from the board.
Hello, good morning. Alex Irvin, Board Treasurer, he, him. Save the date, Sunday, October 6th, immediately following the service, is our first congregational meeting of the church here. We need to address some important business, including formally installing the board president and some adjustments to UUI bylaws, and we need a quorum of members to be able to vote in attendance. There will be an information session to review the agenda on Zoom on this Thursday, October 3rd at 7 p.m. For the agenda and all the pertinent details, be sure to see your e-blast this past Thursday, and there's also information in your order of service today. Thank you.
And now let us shift gears, sit in our seats a little more, feel our connections with one another gathered in this room today and gathered online virtually with us. And let us think about the joys and sorrows of our lives in the past week. In a few moments, as the music plays, I invite people in the sanctuary to come up and drop a stone into the bowl if something is on your mind or your heart today. You can use both sides of the table. And if you have written your joy or sorrow on a card, please leave it in the basket right here at the front of the table, and I will read it out loud. There are cards by the entrance to the sanctuary for easy pickup when you come in if you are looking for a joy and sorrow card. For those of you who are on Zoom, we invite you to use the chat feature. Please put in all caps either joy or sorrow and your name and pronouns at the beginning of what you are sharing if you would like me to read it out loud here in the sanctuary. You can also symbolically drop a stone into the bowl by typing drops stone or just DS into the chat. Let us share the joys and sorrows of our lives together. These are the joys and sorrows that were shared this morning. Jill shares the joy that her dad had major back surgery after years of chronic pain, and she's happy to say he's already feeling better and is 3 inches taller. An anonymous sorrow for the 43,000 people in Palestine and Israel that have lost their lives in the last year. Savvy shares the joy that she made friendship bracelets for herself and her sister. Sharon and Carolyn share the sorrow that their dear friend's home was in the path of Hurricane Helene. The flooding was really bad. The house is still standing, but damaged. And I know all of us hold all of those who were in the path of Hurricane Helene in our hearts this morning. Mary Beth shares both a joy and a sorrow. Her nephew and niece have a 5-month-old, Riley, who was born at 26 weeks. The success of an eye surgery this week may allow her to come home very soon. And Sandra shares the joy and the sorrow. Friday was her 33rd wedding anniversary. She says they went out to dinner and shopped and came home to no power. It came back on a day later, but one of their neighbors is still without power. Let us breathe together as we hold all these joys and sorrows and the many, many that are unspoken but that remain on our minds and in our hearts this morning. As we breathe together, let us remember our connections to one another, our connections to those outside these walls, our connections through our existence in the interdependent web of all existence of which we are a part. And let us be grateful that we have a community that we can share these joys and sorrows in and hold together. Blessed be. Amen. Today's service is a multi-generational service, and that means the children are with us for the whole service. And we're going to start with a Words for All Ages. And just a note about this Words for All Ages, if you want to come forward, no matter what age you are, and see closer to the screen, we're going to have a story read on the screen by our Unitarian Universalist Association president, the Reverend Dr. Sophia Betancourt. And this is a book that some of you may know, but can kind of help us get through some of what we might be feeling at this moment. It truly is a words for all ages.
As we continue the celebration of our revival together, I am so excited to bring you a story by one of my favorite children's authors, Kobi Yamada. The images are by May Bisum. This story is called, What Do You Do with a Problem? I don't know how it happened, but one day I had a problem. I didn't want it. I didn't ask for it. I really didn't like having a problem, but it was here. It was here. Why is it here? What does it want? What do you do with a problem? I thought. I wanted it to go away. I shooed it, I scowled at it, I tried ignoring it, but nothing worked. I started to worry about my problem. What if it swallowed me up? What if my problem sneaks up and gets me? What if it gets me? What if it takes away all of my things? I worried a lot. I worried about what would happen. I worried about what could happen. I worried about this, and I worried about that. And the more I worried, the bigger my problem became. I wished it would just disappear. I tried everything I could to hide from it. I even found ways to disguise myself, but it still found me. And the more I avoided my problem, the more I saw it everywhere. I thought about it all the time. I didn't feel good at all. I couldn't take it anymore. This has to stop, I declared. Maybe I was making my problem bigger and scarier than it actually was. After all, my problem hadn't really swallowed me up or attacked me. I realized that I had to face it. So even though I didn't want to, I really didn't want to, even though I was really afraid, I got ready and I tackled my problem. When I got face to face with it, I discovered something. My problem wasn't what I thought it was, and I discovered that it had something beautiful inside. My problem held an opportunity. It was an opportunity for me to learn and grow, to be brave, to do something. It showed me that it was important to look closely because some opportunities only come once. So now I see problems differently. I'm not afraid of them anymore because I know their secret. Every problem has an opportunity for something good. You just have to look for it. And that, my loves, is the end of our story.
I like that book. Did you like that book? It reminds me of another story. Once upon a time, though it wasn't that long ago, since many of us in this room probably remember it, people began to look up at the sky and fear that there was a hole in the ozone layer. Do you remember that? That would allow harmful UV radiation into the atmosphere. We were afraid that this would cause global warming. And so we stopped using CFCs, which are harmful chemicals, and we started reducing, reusing, and recycling to prevent global warming. We knew what to do, and we did it, right? How many of you reduced your CFCs and reduced and reused and recycled, right? Look around the room, lots of folks. But the temperature of the planet kept rising, and we began to understand global warming as a symptom of a greater disease of climate change. Climate change also causes changes in precipitation patterns, in wind patterns, in sea levels, in shrinking glaciers, and even changes in plant blooming times. Climate change causes droughts and famines and even more severe weather like tornadoes and hurricanes and forest fires. So we began to work to prevent climate change. But that seemed like a really big problem, and we soon realized that this was not something that we could do only by reducing, reusing, and recycling, and not even by eating a plant-based diet, although all those things do help. Instead, we began to realize that what we really needed is for countries to change their laws, especially countries like the United States, so that it would become illegal to burn fossil fuels, solid waste, and forests, and that we should stop making so many single-use plastics and dumping trash into the ocean, and so much more. So we started working towards these new laws that would help prevent climate change. But they didn't happen fast enough. And in fact, most still are not in place. And then our understanding of the problem got even bigger, and we began to look at how people had to leave their homes because of droughts or rising sea levels or hurricanes that hit in the middle of a mountain range. And we began to realize the disproportionate impacts of climate change on low-income communities and communities of color around the world, the people and the places that are least responsible for the problem. And so we have begun to talk about climate justice, which seeks solutions that address the root causes of climate change, and in doing so, simultaneously address a broad range of social, racial, and environmental injustices. And you know, this can all be very, very overwhelming, and it can feel like a lot, and it can even sometimes feel pretty darn scary. But like we heard from the Reverend Dr. Sophia Bettencourt, every problem contains an opportunity, a chance to learn and grow and to be brave and to do something. Every problem has an opportunity for something good. You just have to look for it. And that, beloveds, that reminds me of something that Mr. Rogers used to say. Who here knows Mr. Rogers? Do you know Mr. Rogers? Pretty great guy, right? Were you his neighbor? I was definitely his neighbor. Well, he told us that when he was a boy and he would see scary things, his mother would tell him to look for the helpers. She said in every problem, in every scary thing, there were people who were trying to help. And so today, we aren't just going to look for the helpers. We are going to thank some of them for being helpers. So around the room, there are 5 tables, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. At each table, there are the supplies that you need to write or make or create or color thank you notes and cards. Each table is thanking a different person or organization for a specific thing they did to help work for climate justice. We are going to be thanking, at table 1, Todd Huston, the Speaker for the Indiana House of Representatives, for his pivotal decision to halt SB 52, which would have prohibited dedicated bus lanes, because not only does increasing public transportation cut down on fossil fuel usage, it also helps people get to their jobs and grocery stores and appointments. And we're very glad he decided to drop that bill. At table 2, we're going to be thanking members of the Indiana General Assembly for supporting Senate Bill 246, which expanded an existing program to create a voluntary incentive for wetland preservation. Yay for wetlands. At table 3, by the doors of the sanctuary, we are going to be thanking Representatives Becky Cash and Matt Hostetler, who broke party lines to oppose HB 1399, which would have limited the definition of PFAS chemicals, which are really bad things. This legislation would have limited Indiana's ability to regulate these chemicals in the future, and we know that going against our peers and friends is really hard, and so we're going to thank them for doing that. At table 4, we're going to thank Senators Eric Koch, Ed Charbonneau, and Andrea Hunley, the bipartisan authors of Senate Bill 5, which made it easier and less expensive for drinking water companies to replace lead service lines. Replacing lead service lines is really important for reducing the risk of lead getting into water, so we're very grateful for them. And finally, at table 5, we're going to write thank you notes to the Hoosier Environmental Council for filing a lawsuit against the U.S. Forest Service in an attempt to stop a project for a portion of the Hoosier National Forest that would adversely affect the water quality in Lake Monroe, which provides drinking water to more than 145,000 people. So here's what we're going to do. And online folks, hang on, I've got instructions for you in just a minute. But for those of us here in the room, for the next 20 minutes or so, I'm going to invite you to go from one table to the next and either write or sign or draw or craft or create a thank you note. And when you get done with one table, feel free to move on to the next. And we're going to gather up all the thank you notes on each table, and we are going to send them to the representative people. On each table, you will find a detail sheet, so information that's more detailed than what I can give you here from the pulpit without taking up the entire amount of time. You'll also find an example letter. There are cardstock letters with the UUI logos on them that you can just sign. If you don't want to actually write anything, you can just go sign your name on all of them. And there are coloring pages for folks who like to color and express themselves. It doesn't matter what age you are if you like to color. And there are also blank sheets of paper in case you would like to write your own note. Now, kids in particular, if coloring or writing thank you notes is not your thing, or you get tired of it, or you've already done all the different tables, you can go to your mailboxes in the social hall for a special climate justice bingo sheet. And if you get bingo, you get a lollipop, and you're going to get bingo by going to different people in the congregation and asking them questions. So if you get tired of writing thank you notes, kids are invited to get their special bingo sheets. I will ring the bowl, this bowl, you know the bowl, those of you who've been here before, with a 2-minute warning, and then I will ring it again when time is up. All right, those of you in the sanctuary, go ahead and go to your tables. And for those of you online, hold on just 1 second and I will hop onto Zoom and share how you can participate.
Hello, online folks. I am hoping that you can hear me. Can you give me a thumbs up if you can hear me? Excellent. Wonderful. I am so glad. All right. So rather than having all 5 for you, what I'm going to recommend you do, and I'm going to put this into your chat in just a minute, is I'm going to invite you to write thank you notes to just 2 of these 5 folks. And you can write a picture, or you can write a card, or you can write a long letter if you want. And if you mail up your notes to UUI, we will put these with all of the rest of the ones that we're doing in the sanctuary today. And so we will mail it with you. So you don't need any addresses or anything like that. My recommendation is that you write notes to the either table, what we're calling tables 1 or table 5. So hold on, and I will put this information in the chat for you. Let me scroll down. Okay, so one option is to write a note to the Speaker for the Indiana House of Representatives for dropping SB 52, which would have prohibited dedicated bus lanes. All right, and so I'm gonna put that in the chat. Let's see. There we go. Hopefully that's somewhat readable. So I put a sample sentence in there for you. So I'm writing to express my sincere gratitude for your leadership in coming up to an agreement with the Indigo and city officials and for your pivotal decision to halt Senate Bill 52. Oh, no, you don't see it. Okay, thank you for letting me know. Let's send, I see what happened. There we go. There we go. Now you should see that. Excellent. Great, great, great. All right. So that's one of the ones that you may want to do. And then another one that you may want is to write to the Hoosier Environmental Council for them signing on to a lawsuit. And so here I'm going to put in the chat now. I am going to put, oh, I can do this. There we go. All right. So here is the Hoosier Environmental Council, and a sample sentence might be, thank you for your participation in the lawsuit against the U.S. Forest Service. Your commitment to defending our precious natural resources, particularly Indiana's forests, aligns deeply with our values of environmental stewardship, justice, and the interconnectedness of all life. And you may want to mention the quality of the drinking water in Lake Monroe and how important it is for people to have safe drinking water. All right. Do any of you have any questions? Oh, nope, there are no links. I didn't actually share links. What I can do, good question. What I can do, I think, let me see if I can try this, is share a link to the document that we have that has all the letters in it in case you want more information or in case you, you don't want to do, there they are. In case you don't want to do one of these two, or you want more information, or maybe you want to do all of them. So hold on and let me share this file. Share. Manage access. Anyone with the link can view. That's right. Copied link to the clipboard. This is fun because it's always fun to challenging. And what you can do with your letters is send them to UUI, and we will gather them, and we will put them with the rest of them. Oh, I lost myself. There we go. So yes, what you can do is you can send your letters here to UUI. The website, the address is on the website if you don't know it by heart, and we will bunch them all together. And so all of these folks will be getting packets of thank you notes. Because it's really important to let the helpers know we recognize them helping. So I will check back in with you all in a few minutes, but thank you for participating. And hopefully you can see a little bit of the hubbub that's happening in the sanctuary. And I'll see you soon.
2-minute warning. This is your 2-minute warning.
All right, I just gave the 2-minute warning here in the sanctuary. So the lovely thing for you folks who are online is you can do this for as long as you want, for as many as you want. And yes, just swing by or mail us your the letters and notes and cards that you wrote, and we will bundle them all together. If you prefer to send an email, you can absolutely do that, but then it won't come with the whole bundle of stuff from the congregation. So that's the advantage to sending it with us. And if you do, I suggested 2 in the chat, but if you decide that you want to look at that Google Doc I sent and send and write things for everybody, that's absolutely okay too. So thank you so much for participating in this. And we're gonna continue the service in just a few moments.
Just you and Mariah. Just you and Mariah. She's right there. Thank you all for your participation this morning. Now, I know some of the kids got bingo. If you were one of the bingoers and you got bingo, can you raise your hand? Woohoo! Good job. Now, how many of you went from table to table and did something at every table? Excellent. And how many of you were like, oh yeah, I'm not writing a thank you to that table? Right? Honesty, thank you. Excellent. And for those of you who were online, the folks who are online had information about 2 of the issues in particular, but then I shared all of this with them too. So they are writing letters and notes, and we will be collecting them, and we're going to bundle them all together and send them all out. We can't wait to mail these out because it's always nice to get a thank you note, isn't it? It really is. Well, now let us center ourselves in our seats and in our bodies in this space, in this time, in this place. We know that fear stifles imagination and limits our capacity for relationships that embrace our beautiful and abundant humanity. Fear creates cynical cycles of supremacy and extractive relationships with each other and with our planet. Reimagining together is how we overcome fear. Reminding ourselves that we are in this together is how we overcome our fear. Looking for the helpers is how we overcome our fear. Today, we put love at the center of our work for climate justice. And so now I invite you to join us in the prayers for the people and the planet. The congregational response is in your order of service. and is let us reimagine a new era together. Mariah. You lead us off.
Beginning right here in our congregation, we pray for ourselves that we may open our hearts to be companions, caring for a hurting world and committing to create a world of flourishing.
Let us reimagine a new era together.
With reverence for the great web of life, with humility, we acknowledge our place in it. We commit to protect Earth and all beings from exploitation. So we pray for land, ecosystems, all species, the entire natural world. Let us reimagine a new era together.
We pray for justice for local frontline communities who are impacted first, worst and longest by climate change, and who face systemic oppression. Let us reimagine a new era together. In our reimagining, we gain the capacity to recommit to communities of mutual support, which are the building blocks of an ecosystem of mutual survival. Let us reimagine a new era together.
We look towards each other, people of faith, good conscience, and spirit, leaning on one another and trusting in the hope we can create together. Let us reimagine a new era together. We make right the wrongs of the past, not by ignoring them, but by doing the difficult work of dismantling the oppressive systems and behaviors that feed our illusion of separation. May we live in a way that honors our interdependence and acts in accordance with our interconnectedness with all people and the planet. Let us reimagine a new era together.
As we begin in local, committed communities of support, we find the strength and courage to widen our circles of concern, resisting ideologies of scarcity. Let us reimagine a new era together. May we set down fear. May our courage to face the intersecting systems of harm lead to the strength to create intersecting practices of love and healing so that all may flourish.
Let us reimagine a new era together. Reimagining together, we build new relationships. We put love at the center of our climate justice work, and we commit. May it be so. May we make it so. Let us reimagine a new era together.
That's a hard act to follow. Climate justice is not abstract. It starts close to home and impacts people, including all of us and our neighbors. It's not a contest between our commitments to the planet and our commitments to a more just society. In fact, those commitments are one and the same. We have chosen to share our offering plate this month with Faith in Place. Faith in Place empowers individuals from diverse faiths and spiritualities to promote environmental and racial justice. Their mission is to educate, connect, and advocate for sustainable communities in Indiana, Illinois, and Wisconsin. They are a proud affiliate of Interfaith Power and Light, a national organization working for environmental justice across the United States. You can give on your smartphone by texting the dollar amount you want to give and the word share to a phone number which is in the chat and it's also in your bulletin. You can also give on our website at uui.org. Here in the sanctuary, ushers will come around to collect donations. Thank you.
Thank you for your generosity today and every day. Our closing words today are from the Reverend Peggy Clark. Knowing how quickly the flame of truth may be extinguished, how easily the chalice of fellowship broken, let us be vigilant in faith, keep peace in our hearts, and make care for one another the watchword of our lives together. So our light goes out everywhere, healing and hope are needed. Let us go in peace to love and serve this world and one another.
Please rise and bow to your spirit as we join together in singing hymn, We Will Rise Together. This is a new hymn for us, and we're learning it all over the country today. Jill is going to play it through for us once, and your lyrics should be in the insert in your bulletin and on the screen as well.
We can also shout together later. All right. Please join me in our chalice extinguishing words on the screen and printed in your order of service. Now we extinguish the flame of our chalice, but not the light of understanding, the warmth of passion, or the fire of commitment. Let us keep those with us until we meet again. Go in peace and shout.